Merry Christmas! It's your favourite Atomic Blonde here with my Christmassy, nerdy weekly roundup. Hi everyone! So yeah, it's that time of year. So we wrapped up the shows I've been watching last week. So this week and next week are going to be some Christmassy stuff. What I've been watching. So this week is like some of the new films that have dropped or recently dropped in the last couple of years. And next week I'm probably going to do some classics, the ones I like to watch on Christmas Eve. So let's get into it. So the first of the new films that I watched was Spirited. I'm not really sure what to say about this film. For those that don't know, it's Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. Sort of based on very loosely based on a sort of a Christmas Carol, and Will Ferrell's the ghost of Christmas Present, and he wants to try and redeem Ryan Reynolds' character, Clint Briggs, who's listed as unredeemable. There'd only ever been like one unredeemable before, and that was Scrooge. So spoilers, Will Ferrell is Scrooge. And when he died, he became the ghost of Christmas Present. So so he kind of wants to see if he can redeem Clint, because if like Clint's redeemable, then he's redeemable and he can make up for the bad stuff he did when he was alive, kind of thing. So it's pretty much what you expect from these two. You know, it's quite childish, it's quite funny. There's a couple of funny things in there. I mean, for me, I am not really a musical person. There's a handful that I like. And if I was going to watch a musical at Christmas, it's The Muppet Christmas Carol and it's Scrooge, the Albert Finney, absolute legend. Probably the best Christmas Carol next to Alistair Sims, which is another one of my favourites. So I just found myself actually like fast forwarding through the songs. It would have been quite a good film if it wasn't a musical for me. But, you know, this won't be making it on my rewatch list. I think about 10, 15 minutes in, and I think we'd already had two songs. I was like, I don't know if I can get through this film. But took one for the team for you guys and stuck it out. So like there is some like quite funny stuff in there, but it's just basically Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell being Will Ferrell. There's a little bit of an Easter egg or call out to Elf that Will Ferrell's just become a human again, and they're at a party and there's a guy dressed as an elf and he just looks at him and goes, "You look ridiculous." It's like, "You're ridiculous." So yeah, little shout out Easter egg to Elf. As you would have seen, hopefully I was on the Spacebook this week talking about Elf, which is one of my absolutely favourite Christmas films. I think if you like these guys and you like their sense of humour, you know, that very sort of childish, sarcastic humour, which I do, and you like musicals, you'll probably quite enjoy this film. You know, it's very light-hearted and cheesy and Christmassy and all of that. I just struggled because there was just way too much singing in it for me. But they do kind of almost like, you know, it's a bit meta in the sense that they make a joke out of how they keep bursting into song, and somebody's going, no, don't need to sing. No, oh, okay, you're going to sing. So there's a little bit of that going on. It is very, very corny, but yeah, it's probably worth a look. If you loathe musicals, just don't bother, because I don't loathe them, and I struggled to get through it. Like I say, there's probably a handful that I like, and they're the real sort of classics from sort of back in the day. Yeah, there's not really much else to say about this film. It's childish, it's silly, it's cheesy, it's Christmassy, and they keep bursting into song. So if singing and dancing and musical theatre is your thing, go give it a look. Watched it once was enough. If they'd done a version editing out all the songs, I'd probably watch it again, but no, it will not be making my Christmas list next year. Sorry guys, but yeah, not my cup of tea. So moving on, Falling for Christmas. So this is a Netflix original, starring Lindsay Lohan. Yeah, Lindsay Lohan is back. Her face looks a little bit plasticky. She's had a little bit too much work done, I guess. But considering the drug and alcohol phase, she doesn't look too bad. So I mean, again, this is just such a cheesy Christmas film. I started watching it, and within the first 5 minutes, you know what the storyline's going to be. So this guy, Lindsay Lohan, is the daughter of a very rich hotel chain owner, and like her father's hotel is like for the elites, and when people sort of stay there, they all drive up in Maseratis and Teslas and Bentleys and things. And so she's incredibly spoiled. She has people do everything for her. And she's got engaged to this guy, Ted, I think it was, or Tad or something, I don't know. He's completely vacuous. He's an influencer. His job is being on Instagram and getting likes and all that kind of thing. And he's sort of so her dad wants her to take over the business eventually, but come work for him. And she just wants to be an influencer with Tad or Ted or whatever. So this guy turns up and tries to do a pitch to Lindsay Lohan's dad. He's got like a little B&B sort of chalet type hotel, the North Star, I think it's called, and wants him to like invest in it. And the guy says no. And so pretty much at this point, you kind of know, okay, so Lindsay Lohan's going to end up with him, and then she's going to help him like save the hotel. That's basically the story. That's plot. The only thing is that her and her boyfriend go to take some photos of her skiing, even though she can't ski. But it's like, it doesn't matter. It's it's social medias, and everything's a lie on social media. And she falls and she hits a tree, and basically gets amnesia. And then this guy finds her, takes her to the hospital, and then she ends up staying at his hotel. And she basically, goes from like spoiled brat to learning how to, because she doesn't even know how to make a bed, apparently. So she's never made a bed in her life, but it's not that hard to figure out, really. So she learns how to make a bed and how to make pancakes and generally be a bit selfless. And she sort of ends up falling for this guy, and he's a widower and he's got a daughter. But he's a good dad. It's not like he's a deadbeat dad trope. He's a good dad, and he looks out for everybody, and his daughter and his mother-in-law's sort of, that's the hotel is in her family. Sort of 3 generations have been running this hotel. So Lindsay Lohan comes up with a scheme to help raise money, because he's too proud to ask, to save the hotel. And then basically sort of she fell down one side of the mountain, and Tad fell down the other side of the mountain, and he finds this guy Ralph, and they basically help him get back to civilization. Then they realize that she's missing, and then they go to this hotel because the sheriff says, "Oh, I know where she is." She goes back with her father and this guy, and obviously she breaks off the engagement. She realizes she's in love with the other dude, and she's a much nicer person and all of this. So yeah, it's like proper cheese. It's a sort of Hallmark with a bit more budget, a little bit more humor, I guess. I mean, it's fine. It's watchable. Like a Hallmark Christmas film is watchable. You just can sort of stick it on and probably on in the background or something like that. Does what it says on the tin, I guess. But yeah, I mean, performances was fine. Lindsay Lohan was fine. But yeah, it's 100% predictable. Like I say, you can work out the plot within the first 5 minutes. It's the same as all these Christmas films. Successful rich woman gives up everything to be with poor and nice man. Not casting any conclusions or anything on your personalities there. Yeah. It's probably one of the weaker Christmas films that we've got from Netflix. We normally get a Vanessa Hudgens film. We had the Princess Switch, and we've had 3 of those, and they've kind of gone down in quality over the 3, but they're fun enough. You know, they're good family films, or sort of young girls, young adult kind of films for the family, just pretty harmless to watch. Which kind of leads me on to the last film. So this actually came out probably 2 or 3 years ago, The Night Before Christmas, another Vanessa Hudgens films. Now this is one actually I have actually sort of made it on my return list. I've already watched it this Christmas. And again, it's 100% cheese and smallsy, and you know, so she's on her own. Both her parents have died, and he basically got this knight from the 1500s who's in England. He's actually in Norwich, random. And this old hag, witch, transports him into the future because a little girl sort of makes a wish at this Christmas fair for Vanessa's character to, you know, find love and all that kind of stuff. So he gets transported into the future and ends up sort of meeting her, and again she hits him with a car, as you do, and takes him to the hospital. They go, oh, he's fine, but they think he's got amnesia, and they think he's like, you know, because bumped to the head, he thinks he's a knight from, you know, when it's like actually he is a knight. So again, it's one of those kind of things that then she just takes this random complete stranger home with her and lets him stay in the guest house, and then obviously they like fall in love. But as soon as they fall in love, he completes his mission, his quest, and he gets transported back into the past to see his brother knighted. And then basically it's a happy ending. The crone, the old hag they call a crone, transforms him back to the future so him and Vanessa can be together. It's it's just so cheesy, but yeah, it's a good little film. And like I say, I've sort of watched it the last couple of years now. It's probably one of the first Christmas films I now watch. You go, oh, it's December, let's put on The Night Before Christmas. Yeah, I mean, all these films are pretty much the same. You know, you know what the storyline's going to be. You know, there's going to be a happy ending. I just always find it like crazy that in all these films, like basically, you know, they meet someone and like fall in love in like 3 days and just give up their whole lives and everything for this sort of random stranger. And they normally like the women in it are normally like, say, high-powered, successful women, like lawyers or whatever. It was so busy with work that, you know, they've not had time to find a boyfriend, or they have a boyfriend who's a complete douche. He's completely vacuous and selfish and all those kind of things, and either because of work they end up in, or they go back to their hometown, and then they meet like the dashing kind of, and he's nearly always a widow. The, you know, dashingly good looking guy widow who can't find anybody else in this small town, and they end up finding each other. And like I say, space of like 3 or 4 days, she gives up her high-powered job earning hundreds of thousands of dollars and moves to Hicksville, Arizona, to be with said dude who's normally like a carpenter or a farmer or something like that, or runs a vineyard, or who knows. But they're all exactly the same. They're all exactly the same. But we fall for them, we watch them, you know. Like I say, they do what they say on the tin. You know what you're going to get with these films. So, but yeah, I do like The Night Before Christmas. I would say that's probably one of the better ones. It's quite funny in places. You know, obviously him trying to figure out the 20th century and Alexa, and can't shut Alexa up. So he ends up putting her in the freezer, as you do. And obviously being a Netflix film, it promotes Netflix, and he gets into binge watching and all these kind of things. So yeah, it's quite a harmless, cheesy little film. That kind of just puts a smile on your face at Christmas. So, you know, but I think, yeah, Netflix needs to bring back Vanessa next year. The Lindsay Lohan one, not quite the same. And she seems to become like the queen of Netflix Christmas films, old Vanessa. So yeah, so go check out The Night Before Christmas. Maybe falling into Christmas, sort of. It's one of those ones, if you're pottering around or wrapping presents or, you know, cooking whatever, stick it on in the background, it's fine. And Spirited, if you do like your musicals, it's probably worth a watch. But there you go. The other thing I've been watching is the Santa Clauses. It's on Disney. Tim Allen picking up the character from the Santa Claus films, and so his kids are now sort of teenagers who've only ever lived in the North Pole. It's being Disney. It's a bit heavy on like the wife, so Mrs. Claus, who he married obviously in the second film, and about her kind of losing her identity, and she doesn't even have a name. She's just referred to as Mrs. Claus, and she can't even remember what her name is. And it's all sort of a bit, come on, really, Disney? It's like just a bit too much on the nose, I think. But the actual story is quite good, as like a sort of family Christmas drama. So, like I say, the kids have grown up in the North Pole. They don't know anything else. You've got his wife wanging on about how she doesn't seem to have an identity and a purpose and all this kind of thing. So he decides to retire because there's a clause that he can retire. And then he has to find a replacement Santa, and they hire this guy who's meant to be a bit sort of tech geek, sort of your Bezos kind of thing, but he's I think it's a guy who's out of the Kumar, Harold and was it Kumar Get the Munchies? That dude is him. So, and he's basically ruining Christmas because he makes it Christmas every day, and he's got access obviously to the magic to deliver something instantly. So the last episode was sort of Scott having to go back to the North Pole because the elves are disappearing because they're made out of Christmas spirit. And Christmas spirit's going because it's just Christmas every day. You just want something and you order it and you get it, and there's no sort of fun or joy in that. So Scott's gone back to the North Pole just to get arrested in prison, but pretty much all the elves have gone. He finds out that he's the first or the only ever human Santa. Before they've always been like magical creatures. And it was kind of because he always thought, it was just by complete accident that obviously he caused the Santa to fall off the roof and he put the jacket on and got the job kind of thing. But they say actually it was always kind of destined, and that he was pre-chosen to take over, and so he shouldn't have retired, and he's done it too soon, and that's why the new guy's not working out, and all of this. So it's okay. Like I say, some of it is pretty eye-rolling because it is Disney. It's just like, oh, please. But the actual story is quite good. I think, again, like young kids who sort of watch the Santa Claus movies. I mean, Tim Allen, he's very good in it. And the way that like people are already sort of moaning and criticizing because Tim Allen's in it just for his politics. And there was a whole hoo-ha about in the first episode, he sort of says, we're losing Christmas spirit, and apparently saying Merry Christmas is problematic now, which obviously triggered all the SJWs of the world. Why? I mean, like it apparently is problematic. So he's just stating a fact, and they're the ones that say it's problematic, so they can get your hair off about something that you say. Very bizarre. But it's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's not a patch on the films. I mean, the first two were pretty good. The third one, you like at Christmas, you watch the first two and then you kind of end up watching the third one because you've watched the first two, but it's really not that good. So it's good that they got Tim Allen back. It's good that they've got the actress that plays his wife back. Obviously, the kids are older now. Bernard made a reappearance, and they kind of explain why he's aged and he's not, young anymore. So that's quite good. I'm interested to see where it goes. I'm going to carry on watching it to the end. If we can kind of get the down with the patriarchy stuff out, it'll actually be quite a good show. But it's pretty harmless. Again, quite good fun. So if unfortunately you still have Disney Plus, go give it a check out. But just brace yourself for some of the cringe dialogue that's coming out of her mouth. She was a great character. Don't ruin her. Just be a normal woman. It's fine. So the Santa Claus is that's what it's called. Disney. Drops weekly. We're up to episode 5. I'm not sure how many episodes there are because it feels like it's sort of wrapping up. So maybe 6. It's going to finish before Christmas. I guess the last one will be next week, or Christmas Eve, the week after. So maybe 2 episodes left. But yeah, it's good bit of Christmas fun with some Disney nonsense in it, unfortunately. But what can you do? So that's it, really. It's got a short and sweet one this week. After last week's marathon, getting through 1899. Yeah, I just wanted to do a quick one. Say these are a couple of things I'm watching. Here's some of the new Christmas shows that are out and the Christmas films. As I'd say, I don't think any of them are going to make it on my repeat watch list. Only The Night Before Christmas has made it on there so far. We have to wait and see what we get next year. It's always good to get a new Christmas film in rotation that you can watch. So, but you know, they like I said, they do what they say on the tin. You know what you're going to get with these films, and if you hate sort of cheesy love story, rom-com type things, you know, just don't go there. It's just not worth it. And don't think about it too much either. And there's so like plot holes and stuff. You're just like, what? But hey, it's Christmas. That's exactly what it's here for, right? So that's it. As I said, short and sweet. Do like the video, share it, and I'll be back next week, probably with my last one of the year, before wrapping up before Christmas and New Year's. Like I said, I'll be talking about some classic Christmas films, the ones that I love and watch on mainly Christmas Eve. So I'm very stickler that I watch certain things at certain times through December. I know, I'm weird. But you know, that's how I'm going to be spending my Christmas Eve, watching a selection of films that I will talk to you about next week. So if you haven't got your tree up yet, why not? Go get your tree up. Stop watching me. Go get your tree up. Feel free to leave me a comment. Let me know what your favourite Christmas films are, if there's a Christmas film you want me to talk about next week. So have a great week. Have a good Christmas, and I'll see you soon. Bye.